Bad Culture Crew. Finding the terrible, so you don't have to. Welcome to Bad Culture Crew, the premier source for the terrible. We're so glad you've joined our journey into this week's best of the worst media. Please take a moment to get comfortable, grab your favorite alcoholic beverage, and prepare for some hilarious fucking bad. This is Bad Culture Crew. Finding the terrible, so you don't have to. Presenting your hosts, Austin Daniels and Steve Nevels.
Thank you so much, Wendy. This is the Bad Culture Crew. We do find the terrible so you don't have to. My name is Austin Daniels. As always, I'm sitting alongside dog killer Steve Nevels. How you doing, you awful person?
Well, one of my favorite hobbies in the world is to go out dog hunting. Okay. And sometimes I'll be at like a no-kill animal shelter, and I'll be like, hey, I'm looking for a new dog. And they're like, oh, are you a dog person? You have other dogs at home? I'm like, well, no, they're buried in my backyard, yeah, but I don't have any, among the living in the house.
Oh, see, I thought you liked to kill dogs that didn't exist. I thought that was your specialty.
Yeah, these are also shelters that don't exist either. This is all in a hypothetical world, like in my head.
CG shelters, CG dogs,
everything.
Guns are CG.
Inside my head is a giant live-action Transformers movie.
So, of course, we're referencing this fucking video from, what was it?
Bring Me the Horizon's new video, Follow Me, in which they killed a CGI dog.
And everybody in the internet, fucking went nuts.
They lost their shit over it.
So, I don't get it. It actually pissed me off because it's like, well, if you watch the video, it's about the apocalypse, right? So
the premise of the video is a giant apocalyptic world. This guy that's walking through the town, completely oblivious to what's going on.
Right.
And people are shooting each other down in the streets.
Right.
There's cops being shot in the face. Right. And there's zombies walking around eating people.
Right.
But slow down. They killed the dog.
That didn't even exist. I was like, are you kidding me? So everybody freaks out because there wasn't a trigger warning, okay? We didn't get a trigger warning beforehand that a dog might be shot. Forget cops might be shot. A dog that didn't exist might get shot.
Yeah, I like this whole safe, we're going back to this whole safe space thing where people were like, you didn't give me a fair warning. I didn't want to see that. I said, look, here's the thing. And we talked about this the day that this news broke. If, this isn't a video by fucking One Direction or Taylor Swift.
Right.
Okay? Bring Me the Horizon, if you are looking up a Bring Me the Horizon video, you know what kind of band they are.
Right.
Okay? And you know what kind of music they play. So why do you think it would be anything other than what it is?
Right.
It doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
It fits their MO. It fits what kind of artist they are. So I don't get it.
I don't know.
It makes no sense. Now, I did have a friend that was telling me about how, the reason that people get so outraged and crazy about, when some stuff happens, violence happens towards animals, is that sense of animals are very innocent. It's like an existential look at things.
Okay.
How animals are just very innocent, and there's a preconceived notion that they're just like innocent bystanders, and and that's why people freak out so much about it. I still don't get it.
It's still wrong. There's plenty of normal people. There's plenty of innocent people that were killed in that video. So what's the difference?
Well, everybody, it seems like people think, everybody's guilty of something. If you're a human being, you're guilty of something. You've done something wrong. You know what I mean? This dog is just, first of all, it doesn't exist. So let's, I have to keep reiterating. The dog isn't real, okay?
Yeah. They didn't actually kill a dog.
A lot of people were posting that they stopped watching the video right after they saw this dog thing. They were like, I didn't even want to see any more of it. You guys are terrible people. I'm like, well, then you have no place for an opinion because you don't know what else happened.
Completely out of context, if that's the case, because it fits in with the video. And honestly, you know what? Fuck it. Bring Me the Horizon. Stand by your guns, please.
They are, and they're doing a great job of dealing with it because they've responded a couple of times with some really funny stuff. They were like, to all those offended by the death of Sparky, he was getting old anyway.
Yeah, it's
that's awesome.
That's a dumb argument because people get all, I don't know, people seem to value animal life more than human life. Way more. and that's more taboo than anything. And I'm like, what? I don't.
Well, the other thing that we have going on is like these people that are so against, like kind of like broadening the spectrum.
Sure.
People that are against like animal testing and testing drugs and all these things against animals.
Yeah.
They're against it until they need it. Like
Yeah.
when they get diagnosed with something and they're like, oh my God, there's not a medication for this. Well, you need to find a cure. Figure it out. You need to figure it out. Well, okay, but we'd have to test this on. We have to test on these. Okay, fine, do whatever you have to do.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But up until that point, like it's such a fucking turn on a dime situation where people flip the coin so fast when it has something to do with them personally. But when it's just generalizing, people go, "Oh my God, that's so sad." No, this needs to stop.
Now, I don't understand. Here's the thing. Like, you look at, like, the Michael Vick case, right? Where everybody's, oh, my God, this guy, the most awful, hateful person in the world. And then, like, we got some guy murdering somebody, gets a DUI in the NFL, kills somebody. That's fine.
I've heard, like, zero news about that.
Right, but you get in a dog fight. Oh, my. And I'm like, that was wrong. And he did everything he possibly could to make up for it. Like, I really did. I really do think that way.
Sure.
Because he comes out, he raised all this money, he got out of jail, he spent his time. He didn't. And what he did was wrong, no question, but I don't know. I mean, if we're going to ignore that, then if we're going to ignore DUIs for that.
Now,
I mean,
some people might take what we're saying as like we're pro animal violence.
And we're not.
And that's not the thing. We just are trying to keep the scope of what's going on in the fucking world in perspective.
Exactly.
And for some reason, there's so much more of an uprising about a CGI dog getting killed, but then 30 seconds later in this same video, 6 cops get murdered in the street.
And that was fine.
And nobody says a word about it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
See, that is just
because
fucking outrageous.
cops are bad. Okay,
They're bad people.
All of them are bad, and all dogs are perfect, even though they're fake. Fucking stupid.
It's
Grow up.
awesome.
Dear God. I was losing my mind when I saw that on Twitter last week. Anyways, we do this show.
I had no idea that there was a show today.
Let's talk about it. Steve, you're doing the therapy sesh.
Yeah, we've got a story about a girl texting another guy. We're, the last couple of weeks in therapy session, we've been talking about, the women that have been having some relationship issues. This time, we're going to help this guy out. He's got a problem with a woman texting another guy while they're, I don't know, maybe in a relationship.
We all know about it.
We know how it goes.
I do want to say before I move on to the rest of the show, I am expecting a phone call because I'm still having car problems, people. Still having.
Just so you know, there's car trouble here in St. Petersburg, Florida.
It's run rampant. It's like an epidemic, just to me.
And now this guy has pretty much bought his weight of a new car in repairs for this vehicle that he has.
I'm gonna go get a new, maybe even get a new car today.
Might even get a new car. We don't know.
Let me see. Yeah, so I might take the phone, and then we're gonna talk on the phone.
We'll take the phone call on the show just so that everybody can stay in the loop with this very pressing issue.
Yeah. Yes. Will we put it on the Stay in the Loop page? Probably not. But I'll just keep it for this episode.
It might be in the Stay in the Loop page.
This is what Austin got. Okay. The bad movie review. It's been a month. We're going to talk about United Passions.
We did watch United Passions over the last week, and fuck.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, we got a lot to say about this one.
Oh, my God. All right. Pick a side this week. It's me. We're going to take Pawpaw versus George Lucas. Now, should I tell him who Pawpaw is now, or should we wait about Pawpaw?
Well, just give it a little brief. Just very brief who Pawpaw is.
Old Grandpa, okay, was a big Twitter star this week because he hosted a big grandkids dinner. But that's all I'll say. Versus George Lucas. We all know who George Lucas is.
I was going to say, now tell them who George Lucas is.
George Lucas made Indiana Jones and Star Wars and Howard the Duck.
He's the guy that made, what was that movie? American Graffiti? Yeah, that's him.
Oh, yeah. We all
Howard the
forget that.
Duck.
Howard the Duck, man.
He's famous for those
we got to watch that one.
exploits.
Steve, your Make It Weird segment this week. We're going to talk about rap battles.
Apparently, be aware. All I'm going to say is Massachusetts authorities are telling you to be weary of traveling, roving rap battles. Okay, so it's kind of strange.
Yes.
And we'll talk about and Make It Weird.
All right, and the last word this week, Steve, you're going to end the show by talking about the question, are there enough reality shows?
So I don't know if anybody's noticed this or not, but it seems like every season when television shows start back up, 10 new reality shows just seem to pop up, and they're here for like 6 weeks, and then we never hear from them again. But I went and did a little bit of research.
All right.
And I never realized. I always say, like, oh my God, are there enough fucking reality shows? Do we have enough? Well, I did a little bit of digging, and I found out how many there really are. And we're going to talk all about that in the last word.
Fantastic. But before we do all that, it's time for the bad culture commentary.
Culture commentary.
Let's take a break from some Trump news for now. Well, with the exception of Scott Baio, who's apparently endorsing Trump. Man, that's a sweet deal, right? It's a big get when you can get the Bob Obla vote. Chachi no longer. Hold on, wait a minute. The phone call has happened. Here we go.
All right, phone call time.
Hello? Hello, how's it going, Tim?
He's on the phone with Tim. This is all part of the commentary. He's shaking his head. It looks like looks like he's getting some good news. Oh. Well, they said, I'll give you a little bit of background. They said this morning when they called him that they couldn't replicate the problem, which is the vehicle refuses to start.
It did fail on you.
And see, okay, now he's saying that it failed. So we're thinking this might be a starter issue. If not, maybe some sort of electrical problem.
Oh, okay, cool. So
it sounds
awesome.
like more information is coming now.
$125, you say?
$125. And he may have to take it back tomorrow
so it's ready to go?
when it fucks up again. But that's okay.
Oh, cool. All right.
We're still,
I'll be there a little bit later today.
A little bit later. We're going to go right after the show.
And grab some lunch. But you guys,
we're going to grab
5.
some lunch first. He's going to let Tim know that we're having lunch first.
By there around 2 o'clock, something like that.
Yeah, 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. We'll be picking the car up today. It doesn't sound good. Wait, now he's laughing.
I do too. So, well, thank
Sounds
you
like
so
everything's
going to
work out,
finally
folks.
Found the issue there. Yeah, it was a little
so
bit
wonderful.
of a detour.
We
but that's
appreciate you
okay.
standing by as we do the show live.
Thank you so much, Tim.
And we don't want to stop the commentary.
All right, bye-bye.
And then pick back up because we want you to hear everything that goes on here at the BCC studios. So we appreciate you. We appreciate your patience. And now back to the culture commentary.
It was so loud. I was trying to hear him talk. Apparently, starter relay.
Yeah, I just told everybody what happened.
Okay, it was the starter relay. Going to cost me $125. That's okay. That's okay. That's not that bad. So, anyways, hey. Hold on. Let's talk about it for a second. We already got rudely interrupted by this, but I'm glad we got the phone call. Okay, we'll talk about it for a second. So, yeah. So, what did you say while I was doing that? Because I had to hear you on the mic.
I didn't say anything. I didn't say a word.
So, okay, my starter relay is what it is. $125. Going to do that. That'll be fine.
That's amazing.
But I'm going to still check out this car today, this other car.
You probably should.
Apparently, it's all fixed. He finally got it to fail, and he figured it out.
Okay, great.
Okay. Where was I? Man, that's a sweet deal, right?
So that's a sweet deal. $125. That's pretty sweet.
It's a big get when you get the Bob Obla vote. Chachi no longer loves Joni. Chachi loves Donald. Just fucking blends right in. Okay, I'm finished. Let's talk about Hulk Hogan. Here we go.
All right, Hulk Hogan.
This is the worst commentary I've ever done. So if you've been keeping up with the news, you'll notice that everybody's favorite sexy, ignorant ex-pro wrestler Hulk Hogan won his case against Gawker last Friday to the total of $115 million. Quick recap, Hulk Hogan was banging Bubba the Love Sponge's wife, made some racist comments, had the whole thing being taped without him knowing, and the video somehow wound up in the hands of Gawker, who leaked it. Hogan contested that this wasn't newsworthy. The true argument set forth by Gawker's legitimacy to publish the story, which ultimately led to their demise. The Bad Culture crew has been following this case since last year, and I'll stand by what I said then. This was unfair to Hogan. Sure, I've had fun at Hogan's expense, even listing a how-to guide for mastering the art of wooing women Hulkamania style, but also felt at the center of it all, Hogan got the shaft. Well, Bubba's wife actually got the chef, but come on, let's be mature here. Yeah, what Gawker did was wrong. They essentially ruined his life. They exposed the man for making a racist comment in a private residence. This cost him his legacy with the WWE, as well as how the public perceives him. If Hogan gets essentially castrated for making an offhand remark in a private residence, then we are going down quite a slippery slope, my friends. This makes me question whether Donald Sterling's situation was fair, which now I'm not sure that it was. And finally, if you want to argue that this is news, well, I'd hope we can get at one point as a society to raise our standards just a little. Maybe by today's definition, news is when a sex tape is released, a fake dog dies, or when we debate the size of Donald Trump's dick. But come on, folks, let's raise the standards just a little. And that's my Bad Culture commentary.
No, the standards are right where they need to be. I think it's
Jesus
fantastic.
Christ.
Hulk Hogan, $115 million is the awarded settlement that is coming. 100% agree.
Now, their argument was this isn't part of it's like this isn't news. This isn't newsworthy. You shouldn't publish this. And secondly, I mean, the big thing for me is like publishing the whole thing without his consent at all. You can't just take the likeness and market from it. Like,
Right.
I get that. But they're saying if it's newsworthy, which is fine by our First Amendment. So if somebody covered us or we're covering stories here,
was that Gawker's defense? Was like this is protected under the First Amendment?
yes.
Yeah, that's not true.
And then we get into a whole thing. But that's what newsworthy is. So I guess we come down to it. Is that news? If there's a sex video of Hulk Hogan around,
the trial,
is that news?
the trial is news.
Yeah.
What happened with Hulk Hogan and Bubba's,
absolutely.
Bubba's ex piece of pussy is not news.
Okay.
Like,
and why is that? What is your different? Why? I just want to hear your thoughts.
For Hogan to be in a, first of all, I don't think of Hulkamania as like, let's back up a little bit.
Sure.
Here we go.
Okay.
Kim Kardashian made it big for being a fucking whore.
Right.
Paris Hilton made it big for being a fucking whore.
Yeah, but she also had a bunch.
Hulk Hogan made it big by being one of the biggest professional wrestlers of all time.
Okay.
You know, now, years later, he is unknowingly videotaped. And these women that put these, fucking horror videos out, they know what they're doing.
Right.
And they do it out of their own volition.
Right.
This man didn't know that this was going to become a thing. Okay?
Right.
And I don't see why people were like, oh man, is Hulk Hogan banging a chick? Yeah, I gotta see that. It's just bizarre. It's weird.
Now, I just feel like 50 years ago, this wouldn't be news, and now it is news because of the stupid clickbait culture we live in. So maybe by today's modern definition, it's news. But however, isn't there some type of ethical responsibility involved? I mean, Gawker is essentially responsible for ruining this guy's life.
Right. Gawker's been a piece of shit for a long time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this doesn't surprise me one bit.
Right. And to me, it's like, because the whole thing wasn't the sex tape. The whole thing was the comments he made during the sex tape. And then everybody kills him. The WWE kills him.
That's my biggest problem that I have with this is the fact that the WWE completely disowned him.
They almost have no choice because they're going, well, if he's racist and he's associated with this is what they do. The unfair thing is, it was something he didn't know. Like, if anybody makes a racist comment in the privacy of their own home,
and who knows,
they're allowed to. I'm sorry, they are.
Maybe that shit turns her on. Maybe that's why he was doing it. Who knows?
Who knows? It's really bizarre.
I mean, it would be the craziest turn on of all time. But it's like, man, maybe she likes ethnic and racial slurs, and he's like, yeah, baby, you like that? You like that?
Now, in that same vein, do you feel like going back? Do you feel now? Because I've backtracked. It's like, I'm not sure Donald Sterling, the guy who owned the Clippers.
Yeah.
Remember that? And he was taped.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't know if that's really a fair thing to do. I mean, he didn't publicly go out there at a press conference and go, man, I don't know if I want to take pictures with black people. And then Hulk Hogan didn't get out there and go, I don't want my daughter dating a lot of black people right now.
Even though she is.
She does what she wants. I just feel like it was ethically, it was really wrong what Gawker did.
Ethically, it's wrong. But you know what? Being a public figure, you have to live your life in such a completely different way from everybody else.
Where does the line drawn? Because you can't even have sex with your friend's wife.
You're not even allowed to do that anymore in the privacy of his own home or your own home.
You know what I'm saying? If you want to have sex with your friend's wife, and fine, you can. But I don't feel like that's everybody's business. That's my opinion.
Right.
And
apparently,
I'm fine with it.
A piece of shit exploitation company like Gawker thinks that it is okay.
And they made money off of him unknowingly. So I get
right. And so he deserves his share of that cut. Like, if you're going to go ahead and ruin his life, I believe that the settlement is a worthy cause.
Now, they will get into an appellate case where they could go for less and stuff, but it could go even more from what it is, because it's not going to just be fixated at 115.
Sure, and I would think at a price like $115 million, I mean, Gawker's got to almost be bankrupt at that point. You know what I mean?
Fuck him. Like, all these newspapers and all these things. I mean, fuck it. Gawker to me is only famous because of this now, as amongst other things.
Right.
But this one,
I think the only other piece of information that came out of Gawker that was in the news, as big as this, was that time that they leaked that iPhone information a couple years ago.
Okay.
When one of the Apple developers left a new prototype iPhone at a bar, and somebody picked it up and was like, hey, I could sell this, and of course Gawker is the one that published it. It's like
there's some ethical stuff.
There is no line for Gawker.
It's like when people publish stories that people say things off the record. That's what they're for. And there's some journalistic responsibility there, you know?
Well, they have none.
I mean,
there's zero.
But there's ton of candidates right now. All of them, you know, I'm sure they'd sit there, talk with you've seen some of these stuff where they talk with the people they're interviewing. It's like off the record, Muslims are all right. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever, you know, whatever
That's
they
great.
say. Oh, Bernie Sanders, off the record, I love the big banks, you know, like, you know, so, but you can't report that. That is why they make those off the record things. And there's ethical journalistic responsibility there. And, I'm fine with it. You know, Hulk Hogan can do what he wants in his friend's bedroom.
Way to let Hulkamania run wild all over that guy's wife and all over Gawker. Good job, man.
Yeah. And fuck it. You know, WWE, I think people are making way more out of this than it is. But do you think do you think the crowd will accept him?
Oh, I think so. Dude, Hulkamania is never going to die. If there's a place, because Hulk Hogan, he lives here in Clearwater. He has a restaurant out on the beach. Even through all of this fucking atrocious news, people are not stopped. They haven't stopped going to Hulk's beachside cafe.
Yeah, and they
haven't stopped going to Hulk's beach body shop on Clearwater Beach.
He's truly racist. If he was really racist, he wouldn't talk to black people. He wouldn't hire black people to work at his restaurant. He wouldn't do any of that stuff.
But I'm going with she just liked that as a turn on.
Maybe.
She just loved it.
Maybe. And you know what? Another thing.
Say that word again.
Hogan also apologized profusely. And I actually felt bad for him.
You made Hulk Hogan cry on television as he apologized for it.
Yeah.
Nobody makes the Hulkster cry.
Good. But anyways, what do you think? Go to Bad Culture Crew Productions. Get on our website. Tell us what you think. Or go to our Twitter, @BadCultureCrew. Argue with @BadCultureSteve. Or agree with Austin DLS.
There's not much of an argument. I mean, everybody thinks that Gawker's a piece of shit, and they went under, and, you know, they're going to have to pay the price.
But there's plenty of people that go, well, racist. That's the headline.
Sure. Let's keep it that way.
All right, let's move on with the show.
We got to move on to the next segment here. Is this where we talk about my car?
No.
looks like we've got some exciting news here in the therapy sesh this week.
Therapy sesh.
So going to my traditional resource of the Grown Folks Conversation, we found a nice little piece to talk about this week.
All right.
Therapy sesh.
All right.
We're switching gears a little bit. The last couple of weeks we've been talking about what was the last one? Parties, cell phones at parties was a couple weeks ago.
But then last week there was, what the fuck was it?
I don't even remember. I don't remember.
These shows run into each other.
I don't remember what we were talking about on the show.
Something about Donald Trump, I'm sure.
I would imagine.
Something about fucking your friend's wife.
This week we've got a great one. Let me see if I can put some English into this one as I read this. I pulled it right off of the news board, so this is verbatim. This is exactly what the post says. See if you can figure this one out.
Sure.
Me and my girlfriend been together 3 years.
All right.
I seen some text messages in her phone that led me to the conclusion she was cheating. When I confronted her about it, she said they was talking about old stuff.
They was, okay.
She lied to me for a whole year, and even though I knew what the deal was, I ain't want to believe it. Now she's pregnant, and 3 months into the pregnancy, she admits to cheating with the guy. I just shut down completely and turned her out. Even though we live together, I'm just mad she lied to me and made me feel like a fool for so long. Now she complains about going through the pregnancy alone and said I'm so cold-hearted and act like I don't care. Is it really my fault? Back when I seen the text messages, I gave her the chance to be real with me, but she said I'm tripping and being insecure. I told her once I find out in the future that she was lying about it, I'm leaving her. She even got mad because I said I wanted a DNA. What should I do?
Okay. Well, let's see. First, you know, invasion of privacy. Don't be going through your girlfriend's text messages, my friend.
I mean, you know that you could.
That's just wrong.
You know you could be turning her out even if she's lying to you.
Now, my second question is: this man a hillbilly, or is he like from the streets? Which is going to sound racist.
This sounds like a
from
little
the streets.
This sounds like street talk.
You think it's more street, but it could be hillbilly.
I don't know. Hillbillies don't say tripping.
Well, it's well, I don't know.
No.
I don't know what's hillbilly
That's not
culture. Yeah.
What do you think?
That's not your kid.
I think that this is 100%. How dare you ask for a DNA test? And how dare you even question her loyalty to you? What are you, a fucking scumbag?
Girls should fuck whoever they want, whenever relationship they want, text who they want. And if it doesn't work out,
and you have to deal with it. You know, it's not your place to be questioning whether or not she's being loyal and faithful to you.
What he should do is actually find somebody else to text, fuck her on the side.
There you go. And
See?
now cancel. It's like a cross multiplication. It cancels each other out.
Two wrongs always make a right, Steve.
And now we just solved your problem, sir. Now what you need to do is go get another woman pregnant, and then that way you can have like these built-in play dates where the you know, the half over here and the half over here, they get together once the kids are born, and now they're almost like brothers and sisters.
Now, if
almost
you are-
like siblings, but
if you-
not. It's like a really fucked up way of doing it.
Yeah, if you are hillbilly, though, make sure you get a cousin involved. Get that going. They'll do it. If you're not hillbilly, just, find
Gotta be a
Quisha,
cousin involved.
and then you do it. So do you think the kid is his, or...
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say no. He doesn't
gonna say
cite.
it's not.
He doesn't cite in here the last time that they banged. So it's like 3 months she got pregnant. 3 months into this alleged affair.
Yeah.
So
I like how she's making him feel guilty. I'd be like,
that's kind of like the best
"Peace,
part.
bitch.
I love it.
Peace, bitch.
Do you think the cold-hearted part is right? Is he being cold-hearted?
No.
No, not at all.
He's not being cold-hearted enough, honestly.
No, I think that he is just what a low-life scumbag. I can't believe that he would do this to her.
That's, no. That's terrible. She gets everything she deserves. I do feel bad for the kid. That's all I can say.
In the end, like it always comes down to I feel bad for the kid.
Exactly.
You know.
Anyways, what do you think? Do you have any additional thoughts, Steve, before we take it to the audience?
No, he should just man up, take care of some other guy's baby. Just quit being a bitch. Just do it, because that's what's gonna happen. That's how it always goes.
If, had the baby before, Steve's done with it. What about you? Are you done with it? Go to Bad Culture Crew. Let us know at Bad Culture Crew on Twitter, at Austin DNLS, at Bad Culture Steve. Let's move on with the show.
Yes.
Steve, we watched United Passions. It sucked. It's the bad movie review.
Bad movie review.
So there's some problem with the starter, as we know.
And there was a problem with the start of this movie too.
Yeah. Well, it's keeping it raw for the audience. They feel like we're friends.
We're trying to keep it real.
Keeping it real here.
All right, quit tripping and just accept it.
All right.
Why you be tripping?
This bitch been tripping. All right. So anyways, we watched this movie called United Passions, which was the most snubbed bad movie last year, I would agree.
Looking like a solid 1% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yep. Aired in France in 2014, didn't make it to the U.S. until 2015. It details the history of FIFA and 3 different presidents. Not going to list their names because fuck them, who cares? But one of them, including Sepp Blatter, that's the most notable one. So it basically is just this retelling of how FIFA started, how it came to be, and all the way up until its current president, or almost current president, Sepp Blatter. However, the irony of the whole situation was the fact that when the movie released over here in the U.S., everything was coming unglued at FIFA as there was all these allegations about Sepp Blatter and his corruption within the organization, which ultimately led to this film's really poor critical reviews, a big self-congratulatory thing from FIFA as it was funded 90% by them, and only made
I'm seeing it here.
$918 June of 2015 opening day weekend in the U.S. The budget was $30 million. As I said, 90% of it was funded by FIFA. Box office was around $175,000 made back. Didn't even make back $1 million, let alone $500,000. Produced by Leo Via Films, and it is regarded now, currently, as the worst opening of all time in box office history. United Passions.
Absolutely fitting.
Now, it's a really boring movie. There is really no plot to it. It's basically just a visual retelling of kind of passing
of
through
the history of FIFA. It's exactly what it says it is.
3 different presidents. So, Steve, do you want me? Why don't you tell me your review of the movie? What is your score, and what do you think?
This is for me. This is absolutely the terrible.
The terrible. Yes.
This is the terrible.
Why not timeless?
Because I would never watch this again.
Okay.
I would never, timeless for me has to be something that I enjoy. It's so bad that I enjoy it, and I would love coming back to it.
Yeah.
And uncovering something new that I didn't catch the first time or even the second time. It's fun for multiple views. I could live the rest of my life in a cave if somebody said, you have to watch. This is the only movie that you have to watch for the rest of your life. I'd be like, I'll never watch a movie again.
It's really bad.
I would never watch this again.
I agree. I'm going to give it terrible. The only timeless part about it is its numerical and financial impact, is how poorly this movie did, which is staggeringly setting records unbelievable.
Sure, but I can't define like what's timeless to be based on like the numericals or the financials of it. I mean, it is a terrible picture, and a lot of the way that the story was told, it's a very confusing way that they told the story.
Well, there's no story.
There's no story. It's just sort of like they start out in 1904, where they have these meetings about how to bring together all of the different soccer. Well, they call it football. No, all the soccer players of the world.
We're in America. Freedom.
And so by 1905, here we are playing, in this international league where they bring all these different countries together, and that's how FIFA came to be. Actually, how it came to be was a bunch of French guys sitting around eating baguettes, drinking whiskey, and talking about how they're going to connect all of the soccer players together, and they're going to call it FIFA. Like just like that. It's so unorganic.
Yep. No.
In the way that all the dialogue that's in it is. I was talking to as we were watching it. I was like, oh my god, the dialogue is literally just people almost reciting out of a book. Like it would be something like
article,
something that you would actually be reading, like a press release almost, is how the dialogue was written.
Yeah, it's like a historical textbook come to life.
Yeah, the way that the characters interact with each other is very stiff, and there's no chemistry between anybody. It's just people spouting lines at each other about the history of FIFA.
And that's the problem, because it's like the thing with any movie, you have to have a 3-act structure. I'm sorry, most of the good movies do. You have to have characters you care about, but I don't know who these people are. And unless you're a FIFA enthusiast who's nuts about the inner workings of it, you really don't care.
You would never know who any of these people are, because they never really introduce any of the characters. They just somebody just shows up in a scene, say what they have to say.
That guy?
That's what the entire time we were sitting there going, well, who the fuck is that now?
Right.
They never mention. The only people that are introduced are like the 3 different presidents.
Right.
That's it. All the people that they're associated with, that they do business with, there's no names. Nobody else is mentioned.
It's just, except for like who the presidents are or who they're going to be.
But you're expected to follow these people as they talk about, we need to, this is how we can improve next year at the World Cup and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, who are you talking to? Who is this person that you're communicating with?
Now, in a weird comparison, I just thought of this now, was Moneyball. Because Moneyball wasn't really about baseball. It was about executives and finding a new way to play baseball.
Well, sure.
Finding stats. But people actually liked that movie, and it did well, and it got Oscar noms because they were about characters. It was about Billy Bean as a person, and about his family, and about certain players.
Right, that's what we're saying. There was a story to follow.
Like, even if you didn't... Have you seen Moneyball?
Yes.
What'd you think of it?
It was okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're not a baseball
guy,
fan,
so.
but you understood what was going on.
Right. I didn't have to sit there and constantly question every fucking scene. What does this have to do with anything?
That's how I felt during the whole movie. Now, you want to get into the irony? Some of this, like the best line in the movie is, "There's Sepp Blatter. He knows how to find money."
Yes, that's a direct quote from the movie.
Yep.
Here's Sepp Blatter. He knows how to find money.
And we just lost it.
Conveniently enough, you find it in his bank account most of the time, because that's where it ends up.
And there's all this weird stuff about like combating racism and combating sexism, but it just gets so overshadowed by the fact that these are just weaselly dudes finding money any way they can, and FIFA backed this to praise these people,
looking to get richer. Yeah. Now the weirdest part of the movie is this strange there's this wraparound story that's stuffed in the middle of the movie.
Oh yeah.
Of these little. I don't know if it takes place in present day, because
I'm assuming it does.
I got 0 little lower third that told me what the date and time was.
In a country where all these multicultural people live together, you got a white girl.
There are these little kids playing soccer.
But they're all different races.
And they're all different races. And they cut back to this like every 25 or 30 minutes. And the way that wrapper, and it's not really a story, it's just kids playing soccer in a field. Mm-hmm. And the way that wraparound story ends is the little girl who completely sucks dick at being a goaltender. Let's just say she's the worst goalie I've ever seen.
I don't know why they keep putting her at
She runs away from the ball when it gets
kicked to her. Or she just kind of stands there. Yeah.
So anyway, the way the wraparound story ends is she she saves the goal finally.
She doesn't even save the goal. It bounces off the post and basically lands.
It lands in her hands.
You could have saved the goal.
She drops it, and then she pulls she goes all the way up the field, doing these fancy pants foot moves, and she scores a goal. And they lift her up and praise her, and I go, I would kick her out of the game. She's the goaltender. What is she? She could have fucked you right there.
But she scored, and everything's great.
And everything's great, and that's how that story ends. And I didn't get it. It doesn't tie into the movie at all.
Long story short, this really is a terrible movie. It's really boring. I wouldn't recommend it for anybody, including the hardcore FIFA fans.
Yeah, I don't even think this placates to them.
No, because you will be almost insulted by what they did. Because
it's an hour and 50 minutes of nonstop. It's just snore fest all the way through, from beginning to end.
But if you like top hats and monocles, I don't know.
Top hats, monocles, overcoats, and canes, this is the movie for you.
That's enough of that. So, anyways, Mr. Neville's the fake dog killer. What are we watching next month here at Bad Culture
next
Crew?
month, we're going to be jumping back a year. We missed this when it came out because there was just so much else going on. We're going to be talking about the ill-timed and ill-praised Gem and the Hologram.
All right. Yeah.
If you haven't seen it yet, we haven't seen it yet, but if you haven't seen it yet, we're gearing up and getting ready to talk about Gem and the Holograms next month. And it's extensive 3-week run in theaters.
I can't wait.
It should be very
anybody
good.
Notable in that? Do you know off the top or no?
I don't think there's anybody notable in it. I think it's all first-time actresses. Very, very small budget. They made it with $5 million, which it didn't make back. So
Gem. I remember that it was always 6th or 7th on the list of top worst movies of last year because it didn't. It wasn't nominated for anything at the Razzies.
Right. There was just so much worse.
I'm excited though. I'm excited to watch that.
Yeah, I'm excited because at the end of the day, who asked for that?
Steve, it's time to jump off the fence. Let's pick a side.
Pick a side.
This is gonna be a good one this week.
Yeah, it sounds like we got. It's good. The whole show is great.
Everything we do is fucking gold.
All right.
Unlike my car, not gold. Anyway. So, my pick a side this week comes from Twitter, the great world of Twitter. By the way, it's celebrating 10 years on Twitter, Steve.
Twitter's been around for 10 years, huh?
Yeah, how about that?
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Who would have thought it would have lasted this long?
So, the first story came earlier in the week. Somebody tweeted this viral picture. It became very viral. It was, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it was Paw and I went to see Paw for dinner, had some burgers with him. I'm the only one who showed up. And she was implying that all 6 of the grandkids were invited.
And nobody
came. She was one of the grandkids and nobody else came. And then you see this sad picture of Paw, which is her grandfather, eating this burger.
Very sad,
It looked
defeated
very sad.
man.
So you can look at this Paw, P-A-P-A-W. And this girl's name is Kelsey Harmon.
Kelsey Harmon.
Paw, his name is Kenneth Harmon, but he's Paw. Come on now. So it's a sad photo of him eating a hamburger. Nobody showed up for the meal. There was a follow-up story to it where, because they blew up overnight, they didn't think it was going to blow up like that. So everybody was like, "Oh my god!" and tweeting Paw.
Got fucking crazy.
And, oh my gosh,
30,000 retweets.
I'll show up for hamburgers. I would have showed up for hamburgers, man. Hamburgers are good.
I love hamburgers.
But you just no onions for you.
I mean, yeah, I don't like the onions, but I would eat a hamburger with Paw.
Yeah, he seems like a good guy.
Why not?
But you get 2 because he made 12 burgers for the kids.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So I would have
got.
gotten 2 burgers.
That's a good deal for free.
For free? Yeah, I'll take free.
I'm assuming fries were involved.
Maybe. Tater tots.
No. I'm assuming fries.
Paw looks like a tater tot guy.
No. He
Kinda
knows
did.
what's up.
He
Fries.
kinda did.
No, I think he's a crinkle cut.
Thick cut or
No.
or the wedge fries?
No, he's a crinkle cut.
Really?
He's a total crinkle cut. Fries are good. You get some salt on there.
Are they? You think crinkle cut because they match his face with all the wrinkles in
Don't be
it?
making fun of Paw now.
I'm
Everybody
doing it.
loves Paw.
Now, who's the other side of this?
Oh, okay. So, and then in Australia, of all places, somebody...
Moving to Australia, down under.
So there was this picture tweeted of George Lucas
Our boy George.
sitting alone at an Australian food court, and somebody put up something to the effect of when he realized Jar Jar Binks was a failure in episodes 1 through 3, and he's sitting there eating alone with his Diet Coke, eating noodles at this Australian food court by
He
himself.
looks like he's at
And he
the
looks really sad.
saddest piece of shit food court, just eating a bowl of noodles by himself.
So my question for you, Steve, And you can go to you just look this up on Twitter. It's everywhere. Both George Lucas and Papa. Okay. What is the sadder image? Is it, or sadder person rather? Is it Papa or George Lucas?
Judging by the images, I'm going with the sadder person is George Lucas.
You're going with George Lucas.
George Lucas looks so defeated and miserable, sitting eating his little sodium-filled bowl of noodles. And I was thinking, like, think of all that man's accomplished in his life. And that's what $4 billion gets you. You feel sitting by yourself in a food court in Australia by yourself.
Do you feel worse for George Lucas?
I feel so bad for him.
Now it's
like he could have created some character to sit with him. You know what I mean? Like CGI somebody beside him. You know, he could keep one in his pocket. You know what I mean?
Even them, they'd be like, "No, you fucked up too much."
It's like it just puts that man in such a different place that we're used to seeing him, because it's like, he's just like everybody else.
Well, yeah, I mean,
he spends $4 on noodles and soda.
I'll say this: I don't really like the fact that people like go out of the way. I hate George Lucas for making 1 and 3. What a fucktard! It's like, listen, folks, we wouldn't have anything if it wasn't for George Lucas.
Right.
Let's be real.
You get nothing.
Right, and so it comes down to the debate of does Star Wars belong to George Lucas or the people? And now I think it belongs. Obviously, now it belongs to the people.
Well, yeah, he's given it completely away.
But I mean, he feels it's kind of sad because he feels defeated, because it's like, my ideas are terrible and everybody just okay, I'll just back away. I guess this.
I'll just sit here and eat these noodles.
But he is fair that Star Wars 7 is a safe movie. I mean,
sure,
safe movie.
Well, who are you going with?
I'm going with Papa.
Really, Papa?
I feel a little bad for Papa because even after the aftermath where it says there was a miscommunication, stuff like that, Papa doesn't have $4 billion. All he has is his burgers and his grandkids, and they're like, fuck it, I'm going to the club. And they just leave Papa there with all these extra hamburgers and fries. If Grandpa invites you over for dinner and it's a grandkids thing and there's going to be burgers there, that sounds like a fun time.
Such a defeated man.
You go. I mean, it's embarrassing to that family, too. I feel bad.
I mean, you definitely cannot deny that both of them look insanely defeated.
They look really sad.
They are just miserable people.
It's a tough toss-up. I mean, they're both sad people, but, you know, I think you're a little bit happier if you go, well, I'm eating noodles alone.
You would think...
But I can go bang anybody I want. I'm fucking George Lucas.
Yeah, you would think with $4 billion, you would be just a little bit happier, but he just looks like a guy that, like, begged on the street for a half hour to accumulate enough money to go buy noodles and a soda. That's what he looks like. And you're like,
it was like,
oh, George.
This was like a $5.25 combo meal, it looked like.
Like, George, what are you doing, man? Why aren't you at like a fucking 27-star restaurant right now?
He's just a regular Joe. He still had the plaid shirt on.
I know. He looked just like he always does.
Well, these noodles are really good. I really like them.
He's like, noodles.
Nobody wants to eat with me.
Noodleopolis. It's a new planet. Thinking of it.
Funniest comment about that was they were like, the saddest thing about this photo is that he's drinking a Diet Coke.
Yeah, it's the worst.
But anyways, I feel bad for Papa. Steve sympathizes with
I
rich
feel bad
filmmakers.
for Lucas. Yeah.
Anyways, get at Bad Culture Crew. What is the sadder story, or sadder image, or sadder in general? Is it Papa? Is it George Lucas? Go to Bad Culture Crew on Friday. We'll put up the Twitter poll and let you know. Steve, we got 2 more segments. You're going to close out the show.
Yeah. I want everybody to be wary. If you live in Charlton, Massachusetts, beware of roving rap battles. We're going to make it weird.
Make it weird.
As reported by NBCNews.com,
NBC News.
there is a rap battle advisory out in Charlton, Massachusetts. If you're in Massachusetts, beware before busting rhymes. Police in the town of Charlton have warned locals to watch out for suspicious men challenging residents to rap battles. The unusual warning came after police said a group of men in a black SUV confronted 3 young teens last Saturday afternoon. One of the men got out of the car and started rapping, while the other occupants of the vehicle started asking the boys if they wanted to spit some bars. The men drove off after the boys declined their offer, and police were later contacted by the teens' parents. The department described the encounter as suspicious and frightening, but said it ruled out any attempted abductions. Follow-up investigation has been launched. Police added in a community notice posted to the department's Facebook page. The notice prompted a flurry of comments, many sarcastic and confused. I hope they catch those monsters. What's next? A dance-off? One Facebook commenter posted. Others called the notice absurd and a joke. Police later issued a statement to clarify that the investigation wasn't about rap music being in Charlton, but rather the manner that these older individuals use when approaching children. We have encouraged everyone to report suspicious activity to the police and will continue to do so, even if it means we will be ridiculed for doing that. We take it seriously when a parent is concerned for their child's safety.
Rap is dangerous, guys.
Look, everybody knows that, Biggie and Tupac were gunned down viciously in the streets, and if you're not careful, if you can't spit some bars, you might be next. So I need you to be wary, and I'll tell you what, if somebody came up to me and was saying, hey, we need a rap battle, you're going to throw down right now, I'd pull an 8 Mile on his ass and just make fun of how white I am and how I can't rap, and then they would get so scared they'd probably puke all over the floor and then run away.
Yeah, you got beats in there. You could.
That's how it would happen, man.
Spit bars, Steve.
I'll spit some game.
What can you rhyme?
That's what they call it.
How do you rhyme? Like Dr. Seuss?
Yeah, I do a whole bunch of like one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish, bitch. Yeah, like you know what I mean. That's one of my favorite Dr. Seuss books.
There once was a man from Nantucket.
And he told me that I should suck it.
Yeah,
because
it takes so long that could suck it. Or something like
it's pretty good.
Yeah. So that's a little.
So
strange.
would you be terrified if these men just jumped out of a car and started like if the three buddies are in the car beatboxing and he comes up to you, he's up in your face, and he starts spitting some game at you, and you're like, so what are you doing?
I would be puzzled and amused and laughing at the same time. I'd be so like, what the fuck is going on? I love my life.
In a different version of the story, I saw that they believe that these kids that are like driving around rap battling people are about 16 or 17 years old.
So they're just having fun being stupid.
And the kids that they approached, whose parents contacted the police, were 13. So I don't know, like, that doesn't really sound like children to me. Like, if they're going up to 7-year-olds and they're like, hey, bitch, put down that school book and let's rap battle. These kids are probably like, what are you talking about? But I'm like, a 13-year-old boy, you're driving up to him and you're like, hey, man, we'll spit some game at you. You want a rap battle? Like, they know what you're talking about.
Yeah, come on.
You know what I mean?
How white are they? Are they from the Ascot part of town where they...
I'm not sure. It doesn't specify any sort of race in the story. So
but we all know the black people are rapping and the rich white kids are walking around town. That's what's happening.
The black people are driving around. 16-year-old black kids are driving around in a Cadillac SUV, rap battling white kids that are walking around in polos and khakis.
Yes, and ascots, I'm presuming.
I'm sure.
With the big high things, and they're holding tennis rackets, I presume.
Yeah, wearing their boat shoes.
Yes, and they're just like, yes, darling, yes, and that's their conversation. They're not actually saying anything.
What is this spitting some bars you speak of?
yeah, they're very British, and they're inbred. So
I think it's great. It's just a little tidbit, a little piece that I thought was particularly odd because we were we're talking about how crazy things are in the world and how unsafe everything is, but really,
this
rap battles.
This seems like there's plenty of worse things kids could be doing at 16 and 17 years old. And if they want to go around and rap beat, as long as they're not hurting anybody, if they want to like joke like that, because there's a lot of really unpleasant things on the internet where people like, remember the people were sucker punching each other for for months? That's awful. But if you're going to go up and rap battle somebody, that sounds like something that would be on candid camera, honestly. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe these kids were making a fucking stupid YouTube video or something.
Let them, that's fine.
Everybody's doing that these days.
That's fine. Good for them.
But apparently in Massachusetts, and this town that I'm talking about in Massachusetts is considered one of the top 50 safest cities in the country.
So they are
very yeah. This is like somebody was murdered, basically, as opposed to
rap music is hit. What Charleston?
That's it. Yep, rap music has finally come. Hide your kids, hide your wife. It's over. We're done.
Anyways, what do you think? Do you think it's a strange story? Do you think these kids are harmless? Or are they a bunch of thugs?
I think they're a bunch of fucking degenerates.
Nah, they're fine. Kids will be kids. Let them rap battle. You know?
My God.
Steve, let's end the show.
Hey, we got one more segment. Has anybody really sat and taken the time to think about, oh my God, every time you flip the channel on your TV, you're like, how many fucking reality shows exist out there? When does the madness end? And how did this all start? Well, we're going to talk all about it. The last word.
The last word.
So, in a news report here that I have that was posted about a year ago, back in 2015. So,
Get with the times.
the timeline goes up to
So it's pretty
last
current.
year, pretty current.
Yeah, well-
From the Washington Post, they talked about how we went from Survivor to more than 300 reality shows.
Wow.
Now we know that now it's been 16 years since Survivor first aired on CBS. Okay, and unbelievable as it is, in the series finale of that show, 50 million people tuned in to watch Richard Hatch win the $1 million in the big payout for living on an island with a bunch of strangers for a few
He's
weeks.
in jail now, isn't he? Or was he?
He was, yeah. I think he might still be. I think he killed somebody. I don't know. It makes sense.
He was
for
on
a
The Apprentice for a
reality
season.
star to do that. But anyway, now we know that shows like The Real World and Road Rules were on MTV back in the 90s, which were essentially considered like one of the first reality TV shows. But they weren't very mainstream, and they had a very niche audience just because they were on cable, and not a lot of people kind of jumped on that bandwagon. But when the success of what CBS did hit, every network realized, wow, we could rake in all this viewership and all these advertisers and make shows for practically nothing. It costs practically nothing to make a reality show.
Right.
So over the last 15 years, if you were ever curious, let me break this down. Reality shows are basically like genres, just like any other show. Like they're segregated into different categories. And let me tell you, there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 different categories of reality shows that you can have.
That's a lot of categories.
And all of them collaboratively extend to over 300 shows. Now, as of 2015, there were 24 competition and prize shows, 74 talent shows, 30 dating shows, 39 family-oriented reality shows, 35 autobiographical shows, 18 ridiculous people shows, 25 life improvement shows, 44 business shows, 8 hidden camera shows, and 9 wives shows. 9 wives shows. Because you can't have just one of those.
Like the Housewives.
Real Housewives, Real Basketball Wives, all that bullshit. Anyway, to have that many reality shows and that many choices, like how do you make shows like that stand out anymore? And what's the point? Like, why are we so wrapped up and so engulfed into watching other people do things rather than just going out and doing things ourselves?
It's weird. I feel like it's kind of befuddled now. I think we've reached that pinnacle where it was everywhere and everybody was nuts about it. Everybody was watching every reality show out there, right? And somebody was swamped into them like everybody else, because that's how you stayed in the conversation. I didn't watch Survivor, honestly.
I've never seen an episode of Survivor. I have no idea how the show works.
In here and there, but never just sat down and watched a show. I don't know. The only things I know about Survivor, I know Richard Hatch, and I know Elizabeth Hasselbeck was on it, and she ended up being a huge anchor. She wound up on The View and then went to Fox News and was a big she was like the conservative voice. That's really all I know about Survivor. But I feel like now then it reached a point where it became so everybody knows it's fake. Everybody knows all these things are sort of like scripted and like shaped like mold from the producers to get people to do certain things. And then they just record it. So, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't watch them, so it's like hard for me to stay engulfed in them or care about them. The only one I cared about was The Apprentice. I like that one because it actually...
I had fun with The Apprentice, huh?
Well, yeah, I really love that show because it actually valued some type of tact in strategy, and you had to be smart. I mean, a lot of these people that came on the show are really smart people, you know? And then you get like... And then what's funny is like all the people that came out of it, like Omarosa became a huge celebrity because of that. Or
there's been so many that have become famous for doing nothing. It's amazing.
It's the thing. I mean, I guess it depends on the premise. Is it a tired old thing?
So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go through some of these categories, and we're going to look at some of the most successful ones and some of the worst ones.
Okay, cool.
And we'll talk about how you would even think that would be a good idea.
Sure. Okay.
You know. Okay. So under the competition, the prize competition category, we have the best shows being Survivor, Big Brother, and The Amazing Race.
Yeah, those were all pretty successful.
And they're all pretty successful.
Never really watched any of them.
And those shows seem different enough that I can understand why people would watch them.
They almost seem like the core ones. Like, what was the first one? Survivor was people on an
the
island.
big one, yeah.
And then there was all these rip-offs.
Big Brothers, people in a house.
People in a house.
The Amazing Race.
People go across the country and
trip around the world.
Right.
You know, fine.
Yeah.
Now, some of the worst ones in that category, we have I Want to Be a Hilton.
That sounds stupid.
You remember that show?
Nope.
America's Most Smartest Model.
Oh my God, don't remember that.
And then Are You Hot? The Search for America's Sexiest People.
That was so degrading and ridiculous.
Wow.
I think Simon Cowell produced that.
How
I do.
anybody could possibly have pitched that.
It's just basically coming up and the judges would tell you if you were hot. I think it was on Fox.
Right. Well, do you remember
What
the
the
website hotornot.com?
Yes.
It was like a live action version
Fucking
of that.
stupid. All right.
So I don't understand.
That's just mean. It brings out a lot of mean people.
Sure.
Like people
And
go, this person's not hot.
now imagine like this was before like the era of social media really blew up and became a thing.
Yeah.
Imagine if people got their hands on that now.
Yeah.
Like, terrible.
Yeah.
So competition shows, talent competition shows, we have American Idol as being like the top, Project Runway,
That's
which
still going, right?
and America's Next Top Model.
Those
are like
I've
the-
seen an
the big
episode of that
successful
one.
ones.
I actually like American Idol. That's a good show.
I
show.
actually worked on a couple episodes of American Idol.
Oh, yeah?
And I can tell you that people who think that reality TV is really real
Yeah.
with what goes on behind the scenes, it's almost more scripted than scripted TV.
Yeah.
It is producers putting words in your mouth, and then you regurgitate it back to the camera, and people go, that really happened? They really think that way? Oh my God. And like they create all of this tension and drama. They're storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what they try to advertise to you, reality TV is just that.
Right.
It's just it's a different way to create scripted programming that has all the drama that you would see on a real drama show and all the comedy that you would see on a real comedy show. It's people writing storylines for them to drive these contestants into. It's what it is.
How do they incorporate that in American Idol? Like, they'd have some like schlub get out there and say, "Hey, I know you can't sing. We'll pick you," and then you say something.
They don't
stupid
tell.
beside
They
you.
don't tell people that. They don't tell people we think you sing
know.
like shit.
They know.
The producers know what they're doing.
Right.
You know, they pick people and then it goes to the editing room,
Right.
which is even more of a way.
So they truncate it down.
To cut it into the show or the story that they want to tell.
Okay.
You know, they'll sit with people in the audition room and have a 45-minute interview with them. And then on the show, what do you see? 25, 30 seconds of it?
Yeah.
They cut it in a way that makes it the story that they want you to hear.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And these people have no say in it. Like, my job was to sit there with a stack of papers, and it was a packet of like 35 pages long of like what you're signing away when you agree to be part of the competition. And you are literally signing away your life.
Yeah, they can. Make
They
you
can
look
do
as stupid or
whatever
great
they
as
want
whatever.
with you.
Now and then. Yeah.
And nobody reads it.
Right.
They just fucking sign
Now,
it.
can you go on other shows with that or no? You have to wait.
If you become a contestant, like, and
what's
you
becoming a contestant? We have to make it to what level?
you have to make it on to like if you're
Top
you're
16 or something?
If you're just like one of the dumbasses that they do in like the audition tape, like where they make fun of you and shit.
Yeah.
That's fine.
that
But
Asian guy who.
William Hung.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Hey, he was great.
That was awesome.
But if you actually make it onto the show as like a competitor,
Okay.
yes, you're
So
not
if you're
allowed
like top
to.
16. That's it. For
Yeah,
a
you're
long
not
time.
allowed to go anywhere else, and you're not allowed to sign a deal with anybody else. Now, once you get kicked off the show, you know you're pretty much free to go wherever you
Gotcha.
want. But,
But then you get enough notoriety like Kelly Pickler and Daughtry.
right,
All these other
It's
guys.
almost
yeah.
worse. Now, there's been interviews with people that have won that show before. It's almost worse to win the show
Because you have to sign
You are
exclusively
locked
with them.
into like a 5-year deal. The deal is terrible. They pay you practically nothing.
Yep. And you have to go tour and do
yeah,
that
and you
whole
have to
thing.
stay
Yeah.
with them for 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's a terrible thing. But I mean, my part of the job was convince these dumbasses to sign this stack of like 35 pages that is like, we can take your likeness, we can take your voice, we can turn you into a fucking mouse if we want to. Like, we can do whatever we want with you.
I like that
You know, and these people were like, okay, cool.
It was a
And
good
like,
show.
It's an okay show, but most reality shows are set up that way
Yeah.
where it's not reality in any stretch of the
scripted
imagination.
reality,
Yeah,
basically.
I mean, So we have, I mean, going off on a tangent there. Anyway, for talent competitions, the dumbest ones here we had celebrity boxing.
Yeah, I remembered that.
We had Rising Star. And then we had Legally Blonde, the musical, The Search for Ellie Woods.
So that would just be, that could only be one season anyway.
Yeah, but you would think like if it did well, they would create
Apparently
like
people like that
another one.
musical. Well, that people like it. Anyway, America's Got Talent on that in the footnotes.
Nope.
That's a good show.
America's Got Talent is not in there. I worked on America's Got Talent as well.
That's a fun show.
Good stuff.
Got Howard Stern, because he was almost rumored to go on American Idol.
Yeah.
Which would have been dope.
Which would have been stupid.
He was the
because
one behind.
Fuck does he know?
Well, he was the one behind the Sanjaya thing. Remember that?
Yes, I remember.
Oh, that's hilarious.
All right, moving on to dating and love shows. Here we are for the top tier. We have The Bachelor, Temptation Island, and Millionaire Matchmaker.
Temptation Island's stupid.
What a fucking dumb. For the flops, we had Mr. Personality, More to Love, which I guess was like a show about
Fat people. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And Dating in the Dark, which I don't remember.
I don't
remember that show. But if somebody pitched me a show called Dating in the Dark, I'd be like, no.
You would do well.
Yeah, I mean, I might be a great contestant for it, but I would be like, what's the premise? No. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know how somebody.
And then they turn on the lights and she's really hot, and you're like, oh man.
Either that or she's, another.
That's
She's on a contestant of More to Love later.
What else we got?
So for family shows, here's this is probably the worst. In my opinion, this is probably the worst category of reality TV. And with 39 shows and counting for family shows, this needs to end. This needs to fucking stop.
Okay.
We have the Osbournes.
Oh, that was good.
We have what I consider the worst of the worst, Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Still going.
And then we have Duck Dynasty. These fucking shows.
They all do so well, though.
I know they do. And that's my biggest gripe is these
Osbournes
shows
was funny. That's
need
cool.
to fucking go away.
Even the Osbournes went away. I like the Osbournes.
For shows not so great in this category, we had Brittany and Kevin, Chaotic, which I think lasted 2 episodes. We have The Hasselhoffs.
That's hilarious.
Which I would have watched. And then Rob and Amber Against the Odds.
Who the fuck are Rob and Amber?
I guess that's why it didn't work.
Were they on Amazing Race or something?
I have no idea.
Oh my god.
Don't know who these people are.
You didn't like the Osbournes a little bit?
It grew so... I
only watched a
the
little
premise
bit.
grew so tired so quick. I was like, I get it. They're fucking ridiculous people. Like, this strung out junkie.
From what I understand, they're actually like pretty normal people. Like
They are. And again, that goes back to... It's not real. It's not reality.
They know they're putting on a show.
They are putting on a show for you.
Yeah.
And then when the cameras leave, they go, oh, God, that was exhausting.
What's funny about the Kardashian is as soon as that thing leaked, Chris gets out there and is calling up Ryan Seacrest, calling all these people to get Keeping Up going. And Ryan Seacrest got involved, and that's how it all went down. Because she knew she could market off of her kids' irresponsibility.
Right. And that show, I think, is like the truest of the true. That's real. That's how those people are. That's how they think. That's how they act.
I think they are so tactical.
You think?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I think Kim Kardashian is like the Trump where you think he's stupid or she's stupid, but she's miles ahead. She steps ahead. She has her own app. She has her own business. She makes millions and millions of dollars. Is so influential. Now she's with Kanye. I mean, this is like, she is a brilliant person. Like, you can't be that. She would have fizzled out, but she still finds a way to market what she's doing.
I don't know. It seems like she's teamed up with the right people.
I think that's part of it too.
A lot of that has to do with it.
I think that's part of it too.
Wouldn't give her too much credit.
I'm going to give her more credit than people think.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Don't like what she's doing, but I appreciate her tact.
For autobiographical shows, the top ones we had the Anna Nicole Show.
Oh, remember that?
Kathy Griffin, My Life on the D List.
That was actually okay.
And then Being Bobby Brown.
Kathy Griffin is all right, but you really have to like
fine.
Kathy Griffin because she can get kind of annoying. But I like how she pisses off people. Like,
and then here's ones that that obviously didn't do well for a reason. We have Hey Paula.
What, Paula Abdul?
No, who was the other one? The chef or the cook lady.
Paula Dean.
Paula Dean,
who's racist 40 years ago, and we hate her now.
Yes,
Jesus
and Hey
Christ,
Paula,
man.
Christy Alley's Big Life.
I remember that.
Yeah, terrible. And then of course Tommy Lee Goes to College.
Was Tommy Lee? Oh,
Motley Crue.
Okay.
Tommy Lee.
For a second, I thought Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Goes to College.
I'm like, why?
I don't. That sounds like a National Lampoon movie.
Yeah.
I don't. That doesn't really work for reality TV.
No.
But I don't know how this shit gets made, man. I would
Why
love.
not?
I would love to sit in a fucking writer's room just one day.
They have to find those like D-list celebrities that have nothing going on.
Sure.
And we'll get to more later on, but they have nothing going on. So it's like, well, they'll sign up because they'll do anything, and it doesn't matter right now. They need money.
Yeah, for ridiculous people, the ridiculous people category, we have the Real Housewives of Orange County, of course, Laguna Beach and Jersey Shore.
Jersey Shore did so well.
They did so well, and these people were legitimately morons.
I don't know, man.
They were dumbasses.
But they, at least afterwards, I think it's another Kim Kardashian thing, because you look at Snooki and there's other people, they're still doing well. They've used their career to move on to do other things. Like, I know they produce stuff.
I know, yeah, Snooki, look, she went and got pregnant like 3 times.
Yeah, but she's actually...
That's great.
I think she's smarter than you think. I know they're in front of the camera. So
And then for the not-so-great shows, we had Nashville, which I don't really remember at all. And then we had Amish in the City.
Well, wouldn't that kind of be against...
Why would you put them there? It doesn't make any sense.
Wouldn't they be like... They can't even look at the camera, right? Oh, no. Oh, I know what that show is about. Amish people are allowed to leave and go on like sort of like
on an adventure?
That's
cool.
Like a sabbatical. They're supposed to go on like sort of a sabbatical for
on like
a
their
year
16th birthday or something.
And they go out and they see if they want the Amish life or they want the cool life with
smartphones. And yeah, I want the cool life.
Me too.
Life improvement shows. We have 28 of those right now. Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
That did so well.
Extreme Home Makeover. And The Biggest Loser are the 3 top ones
Extreme Home Makeover. You know what's weird is that
the Extreme Makeover Home Edition.
Trading Spaces, which spawned a lot of people. Like that's where Ty Pennington came from.
Yeah, but I guess not big enough.
Oh, I got to tell you something.
Wasn't big enough.
We love Trading Spaces. We watch that every week.
Wait, who does? I don't love it. Don't group me in it. We love it. I don't love it.
You'd love it. No.
Show sucks.
Me and my family would watch that nearly every Sunday for a while, and we had all our favorite like designers and they went on to... They basically created HGTV. Like, they all went and had their own shows. Like,
right.
Yip did. Genevieve did. I like the old guy. Do you remember the old guy Frank? The big fat guy, old guy Frank?
No.
Oh, he was cool.
I don't remember it because I didn't watch the show.
Oh, it's a good show. You remember Paige? You don't remember Paige?
No.
And she'd swat the keys?
I didn't watch the show.
Oh, it's a good show.
For terrible life improvement shows, we had Shedding for the Wedding. I don't know if that's like related to dogs.
I think
or
fake dogs that you can shoot.
Tool Academy. That was the other one.
Tool Academy.
I don't remember that one either.
You're dating a loser. Let's untool him.
Big fucking tool.
All right.
We'll speed it up a little bit.
Sure.
Business and career shows. We have Deadliest Catch, Say Yes to the Dress,
Deadliest
and
Catch.
Pawn Stars, which we know Pawn Stars was in the news last week.
What's he doing?
Chumley.
Chumley
was arrested on cocaine and weapons possessions.
Yeah.
His house was
Wasn't
raided.
it meth too? I think it was meth.
Oh yeah, he had a bunch of drugs and different narcotics of sorts all over the house. Fantastic.
My sister likes Say Yes, and what was the first one?
Deadliest Catch.
Yeah, that's still doing well.
Yeah.
That's kind of exciting when you turn it on.
For not so great business shows, we've got Chicago-licious.
What the fuck is that?
I can't even believe that would be a name of a show.
Title for
My Big Freaking Wedding.
Okay.
And Nail Files.
Is it a show about nail files?
I don't know. Is it about nails?
All right.
Like hammer and nails? I don't know. Moving down the list, I think we're almost there. Hidden cameras. 8 of these right now. And some of these it looks like are over, but Joe Millionaire.
Oh,
the big one.
That was cool.
Punked was like one of the originators with Ashton Kutcher. And then Undercover Boss is kind of like the big one right now.
Yeah.
Undercover Boss.
Yeah, people like that.
And now here's the ones that you were talking about, the not so great shows. We have My Big Fat Obnoxious Fiance.
Yeah.
The Joe Schmo Show.
That's actually not a bad show.
Oh God, it just sounds
terrible. You ever watch it? No. Here's the premise of Joe Schmo. Kristen Wiig was on it. So what they did was it was basically a spoof of what's the one with the Asian girl? That big house they all sit in. What's the name of the show? They get in a house, the Asian girl, Big Brother. It's basically a parody of Big Brother. So they're all sitting there in this house, and it's a whole bunch of actors, and there's only one regular guy in it. And it's basically a parody of Big Brother. So they all act like archetypes, and they get these actors to play different archetypes.
That's just wonderful.
And Kristen Wiig was in it before she was big.
Interesting.
As one of the actors.
And then finally on that list of terrible shows, I Want to Marry Harry.
Who's Harry? Oh, Prince?
Yeah, remember when they did that for one season?
Oh, yeah.
They brought these girls and they wanted to marry and wow, you can't get much more desperate than that.
It's a fairy tale. The fairy tale story is you get on a reality show and then somehow you wind up getting chosen by a prince competing amongst 16 other women.
Just fucking awesome. And I know the shows like that, the dating shows where it's like The Bachelor and
even The Bachelorette,
the Millionaires, the Millionaire Matchmaker, all that shit. First of all, these people, they get together, and as soon as the camera stops rolling, they go, "Okay, thanks," and walk away. I think there was like 2 couples that actually have gotten married off of like The Bachelor.
Yeah.
Both couples have been divorced.
Yep.
I think they got. I think the marriage has lasted for less than a year.
That's stupid.
And how fucking insane. There is a new show that somebody told me about. It's fairly new this year that somebody was telling me about. And it's like a blind date, but marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't see the other person or even meet them until like the wedding.
Oh yeah, my sister is watching that.
What's
So
it?
is my
Do
mom.
you know what it's called?
Oh,
It sounds like
they get these matchmakers,
Yeah.
okay? And they all team up and they try to find somebody exactly what you're looking for and what that other person's
right,
looking
and
for.
you just show up at the fucking wedding, and
Yep.
it's like you decide
I
if you
think
want
it's
to get
called
married.
Love
or not.
at First Sight.
Married at First Sight.
Married at First
That's
Sight.
what it's
Okay,
called.
yeah.
Holy fucking shit! What a bad idea for a show.
If
Why
these
do you
match-
think?
Well,
why do you think the divorce
I
rate
think-
is so
well,
high
I
in this
think part-
country?
I think part of it was because if you're in an arranged marriage, because there's a movie out there I really want to see. I forgot what it was. It was this Indian guy, and they all have these.
Slumdog Millionaire.
They have these arranged marriages, and he made. I think his sister helped him make this documentary about him going through his arranged marriage, and they're saying that the arranged marriages by the Indian culture are way higher success rate because they go through the same matchmaking process like that. So they get their families get together and they find these things and they go through this whole thing, and those marriages work.
Oh, this sounds terrible.
Well, here's
sounds like a
here's
bad
the
idea.
comparison. Here's the comparison, because if you find somebody just on the street, whatever it is, okay, you're gonna go on the street, you're gonna find women. That's how I do it. Doesn't work that
You
way.
just find them in the street,
It's
laying
like-
in the street.
The comparison was your soup gets served hot and then fizzles out. However, when you get an arranged marriage, it's like the soup is served cold because you don't know who they are, and then warms up. And then that's how it blossoms. Aziz Ansari's parents, they were arranged marriage.
Right.
And they've done extremely well. They're still together. And that's how a lot of them are. So I don't know. That's interesting. That's a whole different debate. But
it's just it's just a
but
fucking weird
that's-
concept for a show.
I'm interested, but we won't know until 10 years from now,
Right. Okay, and then in the final category, the wives category, the one that I think it just like the family one needs to
they've
fucking
done
go
well,
away.
though.
We have trading spouses. We have wife swap. These are the big ones. And then for the not so great shows, there was the Ex-Wives Club and Starter Wives Confidential.
Okay. Starter wives.
I'm not familiar with the Starter Wives show.
Do they work on starters like my car?
Hopefully that it looks like Starter Wives was on TLC, and it looks like it lasted for
My
half
sister
of a
would know.
season.
My sister watches a lot of TLC.
Fuck, that's just a
She
tip.
loves it and watches making fun of it.
But no, the shows like Basketball Wives, that's not on here. Football Wives, yeah, that's on here.
Football or football?
No, Football
FIFA
Wives.
Okay. So anyway,
God.
did you have any shows, first of all, before we wrap this up, any shows that you absolutely despise that we didn't mention?
No, we've mentioned a lot of the ones that I hate.
No.
And like I said, it's that entire family category that could disappear from my life or everybody's lives, and I don't think anybody would miss it.
Now, I will give one shout out. The worst show, well, there's a few. There was 2. There was one where they were underground, aired after American Idol, where they all like buried underground, and they decided who would take $1 million, and that's the only way out. Did you ever
Okay.
see this one?
I've
and
heard
people
of
were
it.
like lying about them having cancer and shit like that. It was awful.
That's awesome.
The other one, and I think it got canceled. The other one was The Swan. Do you remember this?
Yes, that was actually that's
Yeah.
on here somewhere as like one of the worst.
And The Swan was about, hey, you're fat, ugly. And,
The Swan's under Life Improvement.
Yeah. They would basically take a person's spouse, put them through plastic surgery, and, get their tummy stapled and all
Tummy
this
tucked
shit.
in, yeah.
And they'd come out and look beautiful. And that was the whole thing. And I was like, that is awful. That is an awful show. But do I think there's too many reality shows? I guess is our big point here.
That's the big point.
I think it doesn't matter because watching part of reality shows, you have to watch them live. I think there's a few big ones. People still love The Bachelor. That's really the only one I can think of right now that's going on.
There is a show. There's a reality show that's actually piqued my interest a little bit, and I was gonna bring this up. There's a lot of prison shows, a lot of cop shows.
Oh, yeah.
And they're all the same fucking show.
Sure.
It's like, oh, let's follow these prisoners around, let's follow these cops around, and that's just the end of it.
Right.
A&E started a new show, just premiered about 2 weeks ago, called 60 Days In, and I am like hooked on this show.
Oh, you are.
It's
That's
very
the thing, they hook you a little
and it's
bit, right?
very different. I'll tell you the premise, and then we have to wrap it up.
Yeah, we do.
These 6 people have been chosen to go into prison. The guards don't know that they're plants, and the prisoners don't know that they're plants. And they go in because the warden of the jail, he feels like there's a lot of corruption going on in the prison. So the way that this is supposed to work is these people go in, they have a cover story, they have to stick to it, and they have to kind of like fit in, blend in, and find some like intel. They're basically like, fucking moles. But the thing is they're the only people that know. Like the warden knows, and like the producers know. And the way that they have the show set up is they're coming through and doing a documentary about first-time inmates, and that's how they're like keeping the cover. And they're like interviewing all the inmates, not just the people that are the contestants. There's 6 people in the program, but even the other 6 people that are in the program don't know about each other. So they think that they're in there like on their own. You know what I mean? And every episode, there's like a new stipulation that like comes in that it's sort of like a fucking like you didn't see this twist coming.
Yeah.
And it's keeping it like very fresh and different. It's completely different from any of these like jail shows that I've seen. And I'm really excited to see next week's episode.
Well, I'll tell you this. It ends with the guy saying, all right, the human centipede really worked. Let's set them all up. And
We're going to do that.
Just spoiling it for you. Sorry. That was
Well, did I mention that the warden is Tom Six?
There you go.
Yeah,
See?
nobody knew that.
I'm done talking. I want to
great-
talk more, but we got to go.
It's been a great show.
It's been a great show. My car's fine, I guess.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, I guess tune in next week because we're going to be talking about my challenge. I will create a BCC holiday. You're definitely going to want to know, and you're going to want to celebrate it with us because the anniversary is coming up in May.
Oh, yeah.
We're very, very close to 1 year at the Bad
Jesus
Culture
Christ.
Crew. And next month, as we mentioned earlier, we will be watching Gem and the Holograms. So get to Redbox. Grab yourself a copy, watch, follow along with us. It's going to be a great time. We've got that and so much more coming up next week as the Bad Culture Crew rolls on.
Thank you for listening to Bad Culture Crew. We hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to check your feed every Thursday for a new episode. Be sure to stay connected with the crew on social media. We're at Bad Culture Crew on Twitter, the Bad Culture Crew Facebook page, and of course on badculturegroupproductions.com. We are pleased to bring you the best of the worst. Because at Bad Culture Crew, we find the terrible so you don't have to.